You know what old Jack Burton always says at a time like this?
Come on, man. I'll bite your legs off.
I can take it. Great power comes great responsibility. We have a hope.
Get to the chopper.
And they
To the flesh wound.
I am the father.
You don't remember anything last night, huh?
I got really melodramatic, didn't I?
Told me that you weren't really on a vacation. That you've been looking for a job for a year and your boyfriend didn't work out.
You are out of control.
What?
I've packed your things. They're in the bedroom.
What?
And since you didn't have any money, you decided to move back here.
Is there anything else?
Don't remember anything.
The unprecedented nature of this
Don't you get that tingle?
shock around.
You know you're watching something that's going to change the course of history. You all right?
It's this nervous tick I have. I get this itch. Oh my God.
Thing appeared. Same place, exact same time. But it just made a bunch of weird hand gestures.
I'm gonna show you guys something.
It's dancing.
Is dancing like...
Holy shit.
Ow! What was that? What was that?
A helicopter.
With like the pilot and everything? I feel terrible.
Give him a good show.
Keep it cool. Oh my God, these people are looking at us.
She's the monster.
And welcome back to the Monster Movie Stompdown. Of course, you've got Sludge here. My co-host across from me
is Mark.
And our brother from Texas,
Ruben.
And man, we have got a special, I think that's the best way to say it, special 51st episode. You know, we did really well with our last episode, you know, the big 5-0. I was super excited. Fellow went really, really, really well. And, you know, then, of course, we decided we were going to do a listener request on this one, you know, and had the guest Justin McLean pick one, and he picked Colossal from 2016, I think is when that came out, right?
Yes, 2016.
And again, this is the Monster Movie Stompdown. We'll say that much about it. We review monster movies, and I almost don't even know where to.
I'll say it. This was not a monster movie.
No,
it was not. It was when I texted you and I said, "This is a movie just happened to have monsters in it." Like Pee Wee Herman's Big Adventure had Godzilla in it, but it wasn't a Godzilla movie. That's what I compared it to.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I texted back to you, and I said, "Man, this is not." You know, and I watch plenty of dramas with my wife, so it's not like I don't know what one looks like. This was a drama.
You know, and I don't watch dramas often. Not many. Actually, I watched one last week that was way better than this film. Powder with Sean Patrick Flannery. And,
that was a great movie.
The wife had never seen it before. I'm like, you got to watch this because the boys. I don't know if anybody's ever seen Powder. Ruben, have you seen Powder?
Yeah, it's been a while, but yeah, I have seen it.
Yeah, so I mean, it's a drama movie, you know, and it's about that.
Yeah,
kid.
I would call that a drama or a coming of age.
So Justin, Justin, just to let you know, that's how far Colossal went with our review. We're already to Powder.
You're
already.
He ventured to Powder because of Colossal.
Well, the thing is, the expectation is, you know, we do, like Sludge says, we do monster movies. And I sat down to watch this, and I'm like, okay, I'm waiting, and I'm waiting, and I'm waiting. And then finally I get a little bit of a glimpse. Then I'm waiting, then I get another little glimpse. And then, you know, it's just, I'm like, wait a minute. They tricked me into watching this.
Yeah,
been tricked.
that's what I felt like. I'm like, Justin was trying to find some sly way to get this social message movie into.
Well,
Yeah.
when that movie first starts, I mean, in the first 30 seconds, you're thinking, okay, hey, this big monster-looking thing walking through the city.
Yeah.
The little girl out
Yeah.
there, and you thought, well, okay, and then
Then nothing for a while,
And it was 25 years later, and it felt like 25 years later.
It really did. Oh my gosh, did it?
Yeah.
So Colossal came out in 2016, directed by Nacho, whatever. I can't even know the person's last name. I looked
Mama?
it up. Yeah, Nacho Mama would have probably done better at this one than whatever his name is. Bigalondo, something like that. Yeah. So I mean, it's got Anne Hathaway, Jason Sudeikis is in it, Dan Stevens, Austin Stahl as Tim Blake Nelson's in it, which is awesome because he was in the Hulk.
Yeah.
He was in the with Edward Norton.
Yeah.
But
he was yeah.
that was a better
That's
role.
right.
That's for sure.
It was a better role, and he had a big head, more monstrous head in it.
He did. He definitely
Anything
did.
I saw there.
So I did find it interesting that Bear McCreary actually did the music for this, and that's who did the music for Godzilla King of the Monsters in 2019. Better soundtrack than Godzilla King of the Monsters. Anyways, so this came out in like September 2016. Had a budget, $15 million budget, so not a huge budget, but I mean a decent little budget. And it tanked at the box office. Did a whopping $4.5 million.
Yeah,
something like that. So. Not good at all for this one. But so, Anne Hathaway plays a character named Gloria, and she's, unemployed and a partier and a major alcoholic and living in New York. And her boyfriend, Tim, is fed up with it and kicks her out, breaks up with her and kicks her out. So she moves back home to a house that her parents are owned or they're trying to sell or haven't sold.
I guess it was her. I'm assuming it's her childhood home. I'd make that something.
Yeah, seems like got something like that. Yeah. I mean, her family owns it. No one's living there, and so she just kind of sleeps on the floor. Eventually gets an air mattress because the floor sucks. But then the air mattress ends up sucking. But while she's there, she runs into an old childhood friend named Oscar, who now runs his dad's bar that he owns. And of course, Oscar is played by Jason Sudeikis, and he offers her a job and just kind of overall nice to her, gives her some furniture, and their friendship reunites, and she's working for him at the bar, and that's where you meet Tim Blake Nelson's character, and because they all hang out after the bar late at night after the bar closes, and as this is all starting to go on, all of a sudden this monster shows up in Korea. This giant monster that they come to find out very quickly, or that Glory does, that this monster does what she does. So she finds out by going to this park because it's at around 8 o'clock in the morning or whenever it shows up, and just happens to be when she's at this park. And she puts her arms up, and then the monster does it, and then she scratches her head, and the monster does it, and so she shows the guys, Oscar and the guys, look, this is me, And so at first they kind of have fun with it, but then she realizes I've killed tons of people, because of this. And so she doesn't want to do it anymore because they find out that it's just when she walks into this little park, just this one little playground area, and she steps onto it, all of a sudden the monster appears in Korea and she controls it. And they then find out that Oscar, when he steps in, becomes a giant robot. And it's just interesting.
Justin, the plot is thickening.
Oh,
Can
it's
you feel it?
so deep. And you come to find out the reason why this happened is because, one other thing I need to find out to go first is that during all this, she's kicked alcohol. She's not drinking anymore. Things are starting to go good. And she ends up hooking up with one of the guys that hangs out with them, one of their friends. And of course, Oscar gets mad and all of a sudden just flips coin and starts being a major jerk to her and everybody else, becomes extremely narcissistic and attacking her and almost controlling her. Her boyfriend, Tim, comes back and says, hey, come back with me. Oscar flips out, fires off a firework in the bar, and in a very threatening manner is at her house, won't let her leave. And so now she's gone from being an alcoholic person to stuck in a narcissistic
He is
friendship.
controlling her. He
Oh,
is because he's to the point where it's like, if you don't stay here, I will go kill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
masses
So
of
he
people.
threatens her. He's like, I'm going to
Yeah.
go to the
Yeah.
playground and I'm going to become a giant robot and kill all these people
Yeah.
if you don't stay. And so she's got to figure out how to fix this and stop this. And she realizes and remembers what started this in the first place when they were kids. They were walking home from school around this playground, and there's a thunderstorm. And I guess it's a science fair display. Maybe it's a city project of Seoul where the monster is showing up, and he goes to get it for because it blows off into the woods there next to the path. And as she goes and follows him, he doesn't see her. He finds it and he takes it and starts stomping it and breaking it. This is a little kid and makes her mad. Well, she gets struck by lightning, and so does he. And that's what causes the magic that turns into these monsters. Whatever.
Now he smashes it because it's way better than his.
Yes,
I don't
because
know
it was
if
better than his.
yeah.
I don't know if they stated
They
that.
both have they both
look
have
better.
they don't say it. Yeah, if you look at it, hers is all professional looking, and his looked like a 8-year-old kid put it together. Hers looked like she had help from her big sister or something. I don't know, but it's really great, and it's Soul. It just happens to be
where the monsters are showing up.
Diorama of code. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's Soul that she gets crushed and that he crushes. So that's the city that she was doing for her project, and it gets crushed. I just wanted to know that's he did it because he was jealous.
Yeah. And then he's jealous of a lot of stuff because of the whole movie. He's jealous of
Yeah.
Gloria getting everything or having this great life. So, and somehow she managed to figure out, hey, if I fly to Seoul, then I'll turn into the monster here because it's like a two-way mirror like a two-way window. And so she goes, and she's not there at the park like he told her to. So he goes in, and the robot shows up, and he's going to destroy all these people. But then all of a sudden, she walks in, and the monster shows up at the playground, and she ends up picking him up and throwing him towards the mountains, killing the character, and all is better in the world. The end. So I talked to Pete Quinn about this film.
Oh no!
Okay.
Oh no!
And Pete,
Do we have a Pete quote?
not a Pete quote, but Pete was like, "Hey man, when you watch Colossal, you'll probably need to watch it twice." I'm like, okay, yes, is that deep? I even said, is it like Shrek? Like onions, layers. And he's like, a little bit. And so Pete, if you're listening to this, which I'm sure you'll listen to it at some point, I didn't watch it twice. I couldn't go through this a second time, I don't think, because I don't know. It's supposed to be a monster movie, but I guess the bigger monster was narcissism from Oscar.
Yeah.
Was a bigger monster than monsters themselves. The monsters were in the movie maybe a total of 3 minutes, maybe. While the special effects look great, the monsters actually and the robot, they did exceptionally well for the CGI on it. So I thought they did really, really good. But, and of course, I'm just going to roll in with what I think I didn't like about the movie. But you get 3 minutes of the monster movie, and it was not super creative. There was no real major. You got an explanation for how it happened, but not really, because it makes no sense. You got struck by lightning. Now you can create a monster. Is there a portal there at the playground or an alternate dimension thing going on? Something, It just didn't make any sense. And it seemed to be just an added ploy or, icing on the cake for this movie that's about a girl who was struggling with alcoholism, who overcomes that, falls into a friendship with a narcissistic person, and that's the monster, I guess, that she's got to really battle with all of a sudden, because I don't know. It was okay as a drama. Terrible monster movie. There was just, especially the last. If I want to see a monster movie and you're going to push me through an hour and a half of a drama, then give me some kind of a cool monster movie payoff, a fight scene, and you gave me nothing. They're totally. It was
a couple slaps to the face. Because even when when he knocks her to the ground in the human realm, you don't ever see it.
No.
In the monster realm.
Yeah,
you don't ever see any of
when
that.
you get the decent fights, she's punching him in the stomach and it's all this. It's you don't ever get to see the actual fight going on.
You just see them fight as a woman and a man fight.
Yeah, no, not at all.
Yeah.
This one, there was just the only thing I liked about this movie I'll give it credit because the special effects for the monsters were cool. I mean, and the monster that is her is at least unique. You know, the robot was still cool
Yeah.
that he was. But
Yeah.
Jason did a great job as Oscar when he flipped coin because he's such a loving and fun dude at the beginning of the movie.
Yeah.
But then he
Yeah.
flipped coin. It's like, holy crap! Like, I want to choke you out.
Yeah.
You know,
Oh,
I
yeah.
want to just beat you to a pulp.
Yeah, he went dark real quick.
Real
Went-
quick
yeah.
and delivered on
yeah.
that character, you know,
Yes.
in a very scary
Yeah.
way, you know, as far as how he acted. That's it. Nothing else about this movie I enjoyed. Nothing else about this movie. Yeah, like I mean, it was, and so many things were drawn out, like the scene in the bar where Tim, her boyfriend's there, and Oscar's like, you know
Yeah.
what the craziest thing to do in the bar would be? And he
What
gets
is
the
it?
firework?
The most
Yeah.
irresponsible.
Irresponsible,
most
yeah.
irresponsible thing in the
Yeah.
bar.
Light this firework off. That was the longest, most drawn out scene ever.
Yeah.
Like it took him 10 minutes. It felt like.
And it really wasn't that great of a firework.
No.
You know, for as big as it was. It
Yeah,
was like,
I
what,
thought it was
what
gonna
is this?
blow up the roof,
Oh, yeah.
you know, and catch the whole place
I
on
thought-
fire.
yeah, I thought the bar was done. I thought, it's going to take all of it here. This thing's massive.
Yeah, dude,
Nah,
no.
Nah.
Major letdown. So I'm not no, I mean, no on this one. This is the monster movie Stompdown. And Justin, what are you mad at us? You know, for 98? That's what it is. That's what it
yeah.
is.
Yes, there you go.
That's
telling
it.
you.
It's revenge. It's revenge.
Revenge for the way we
Yes,
treat 98.
yeah.
Well played, Justin.
Yeah. You
Well
did good.
played,
You
sir.
did good.
Yep.
Probably need to give it another point just for another
Yeah.
stomp. Just for
Just you got us, sir.
Yeah.
When you guys take over, I can't keep talking about it.
Go ahead, Ruben.
Well, all right. Well, you know, as I said at the beginning, I don't feel like this is a monster movie. This just is a movie that just happened to have a couple of scenes with monsters in it. You know, and I'll give credit where credit is due. I thought Anne Hathaway did a good job at her character. Jason Sudeikis did. I mean, all of them did an excellent job at their at acting. You know, for a drama. You know, but when we got this group together to do these podcasts, I did say, hey, you know, what'd be cool if we did Sleeping with the Enemy. You know, Julia Roberts, because I was trying to think now, what film would this compare to? And I thought, I don't know if you guys have ever seen Sleeping with the Enemy with Julia Roberts.
Yeah. I know what you're talking
But
about.
she's so it's basically a guy who's a control freak, and she's married to the guy, and she's trying to escape, and she does, and so I'm like, you know what, this kind of this guy is trying to control her. I mean, she quits drinking, and he tells her basically, hey, you drink that beer, or I'm gonna go to the park and tear something up in Korea if you don't do it. Forces her to drink a beer after she's been dry for a while, you know. You know, but even as a drama, let's just put it this way. But my wife kind of sat through some of it, and she goes, nope, and she got up and left. She just wasn't interested, and she was like, "Y'all are doing this?" I said, "Well, there's supposed to be monsters in it, but there's a giant robot, and the robot design was cool. I didn't really dig her avatar too much, or her monster too much, so." You know, I didn't think the design was that great. So, I mean, it's tough for me to review this because I'm not prepared to review a drama
Right, yeah.
as much as I am a monster movie. If I would have known it was a drama, maybe I would have, prepared myself. I think it was just the initial shock.
Or called in sick for
I'm
the
not
episode.
gonna, yeah. Like, you know what? The initial shock wore off, and I'm like, well, the acting was good. Anne Hathaway was in it. That that made it. Even though she was kind of, I don't know, grungy in this one because she was an alcoholic, so she wasn't as it wasn't a glamorous role. So, and she nailed it. She hit a home run with the character. So I mean, I'm trying to stay positive with this, trying to pull something out that maybe, but I'm with Sludge. Jason Sudeikis was the highlight of this movie. His acting and his character was the actual, monster in this whole thing.
Yeah.
And I wish he would have been instead of a robot, maybe some kind of hideous creature that maybe match his personality. And you used the term flipping coin, and I'm an old wrestling guy, so for me, he turned face is what wrestlers do. They turn face, and they're either a heel or a baby face, and if you're a baby face and then you turn into a heel, you turn face. That's what they call it in the wrestling world. So he did that, and he did it on a dime. You would it was, but you kind of saw it coming, especially when she started talking to that other guy. I mean, she was drunk and she hit on that guy the first night. Jason Sudeikis lost it. He lost it that first night.
Right. Yeah.
So,
yeah, he did. Yep.
Yeah.
He
lost it. So that's when I got a glimpse. Yeah, I got a glimpse. I was like, oh, this okay. I see where this is going. I've seen enough. I've sat through enough of these with my wife to know. Okay, I see what's coming here. There's going to be a love triangle, but one of the points is going to be unwanted, and he's going to freak. And sure enough, that's what it was. So, I mean, I don't want to be overly critical, but it's not a monster movie, so it's not, it's not in my wheelhouse. Let's just put it that way. I'll hand it over to Mark.
Well, I gave it the highest stomp.
You definitely did.
Yeah, you did.
And it wasn't that high.
And, that's for sure. I kind of like the movie, but it is a drama, and it isn't a monster movie except for what'd you say, 3 minutes?
Yeah.
But I thought, yeah, I liked the characters. I kind of got into the characters and what they were going through, what they were doing, and so that probably had me give it a slightly higher rating than you guys did, but for as a monster movie, man, Justin, get out the Websters. You need to get a definition on a monster movie, because that definitely wasn't it, and we expect more out of you than that, sir.
Yeah, man, come on.
Yeah,
it was a real one.
Well,
Godzilla 98.
Now,
I mean, it was bad, but this was worse.
That's what I was about to say. Yeah, I was about to say that what I talked about before the show, that Justin, now I know why he did it.
Yeah,
I know why he did it on my end, because before the show I told Sludge and Mark, I said, if I'll put it a different way. If my life is being threatened and they say you need to watch one of these movies or we're gonna beat you to a pulp, and it's Godzilla 98 and Colossal, I'm watching Godzilla 98.
Yeah.
Right? Okay. Then I'm watching 98.
Yeah.
So if Justin wanted to get us to admit that there's a worse movie than Godzilla 98,
he succeeded.
Monster movie,
he
monster
did it.
He exceeded. He succeeded in that, because for me to say that, just think about that. I'd rather watch Godzilla's Revenge than Godzilla 98. So there you have the rankings of those three movies. Yeah.
So I think overall, I mean, disappointed.
Yeah.
With this movie, but that's about as far as we can go on it. I mean,
So you know what? 1.5 stomps, man. That's all it got. All it got. And for everyone else listening, let's just do a real monster movie. It's time to do a real monster movie.
Okay.
So we decided, you know what? Right. We couldn't spend a whole episode on Colossal, so we gave you guys another one, double feature on the whim. We're going to go and do a real monster movie that is a great movie called Critters from 1986.
Of all the planets in the galaxy, they chose ours. They hide in small places.
This phone is dead.
What?
They light the dark.
Jay, any luck?
Just a minute.
There's nothing cute about them. They've come a long way, and they're hungry. critters. They bite.
Yes, I feel, Mike, I feel uplifted. I feel better now. I feel like we're happy about what's about to happen. Let's run this one down, man. Great movie from 1986. Major childhood movie for me. But on an asteroid prison, you've got a group of these dangerous little aliens called Krites who escape the prison that they're on, make it to Earth, and just create chaos on this family's farm, the Brown farm. And they are chased down to Earth by these bounty hunters. You've got Ugg, who's the main one. He's the guy played by Terrence Mann, who actually was a major Broadway guy. He was actually in like Andrew Lloyd Webber's Beauty and the Beast, and but he's chased down by two bounty hunters who come to this small town and try and stop him. Of course, they land outside the Brown farm, where you have Helen Brown, who's played by the great and amazing Dee Wallace Stone, her husband Jay, son Bradley, who's played by Scott Grimes, their daughter April, and then of course caught in the mix is April's boyfriend Steve, who is none other than the first major role for Mr. Billy Zane.
Yes.
And I told Mark before, he's actually one of the only two deaths that's actually on screen in this movie. Honestly,
you're right.
Very low death number on this one as far as people goes. But I was more upset about his death in this film than I was his death in Titanic. Just want to get that out there. But so this family's trapped on their farm with these critters, or the Krites, but they're called critters, trying to eat them and kill them. They got them trapped in the house, and it's just monster action and fun. And the bounty hunters show up as well as Charlie. Forgot to mention Charlie, the farm hand who works there at the farm with them, played by Don Keith Opper, who actually is one of the guys who co-wrote this movie. He's kind of a special needs type of person with a little bit of a drinking problem. He's the first one to see the aliens, and he talks about getting alien signals through his teeth or something like that, I think, earlier in the film.
Yeah, through his feelings.
Yes, through his feelings.
Bringing him. Yeah,
and he's always trying to tell Harv, the sheriff, played by the great Emmett Walsh, in this movie. And it's just a great alien monster fun. The critters, or the Krites, are these little balls of fur with millions of teeth that can open up about 180 degrees, and the more they eat, the bigger they get. Think, a lot of people compare this movie to Gremlins.
Yes, I was going to say that also. That Gremlins came out in, in 84, 85, somewhere right there.
But
I think Gremlins set off that type of movie.
It really did.
Yeah.
But now, according to Stephen Herrick, the director, and Don Opper, they actually wrote the script for this before Gremlins came out. So we don't know if that's true or not, but that's what they say.
Well, they're not very good in the movie business then, because they let Gremlins beat them out.
I know they should. Which Gremlins is a great movie too, with Joe Dante.
It is.
But this is very much like Gremlins. It's a horror movie, but it's a comedy.
But Gremlins had Phoebe Cates.
Yeah.
And that right there, for me, that was like, man, just thinking about her. Oh.
Done deal.
The major plus there. Of course. The special effects in this were done by the Chiodos brothers. They're the ones who came up with the design for the Krites, and they did all the special effects. Of course, you've probably heard the name of the Chiodos brothers because they did Killer Clowns from Outer Space, as well as the following sequels. Because this movie had a $3 million budget, and did $13.2 million at the box office. So it was definitely a success at the box office. It spawned now 4 sequels and a web series. So this is kind of like Tremors almost. But a super fun movie. I started on Colossal. I started on this one. For me, this was one of the movies I remember as a kid. Every time it was on, I was watching it, or the second one, or the third one. I remember going and renting the fourth one, where they're actually in space instead of on they were in the farm here. They were in a small town. The second one, a New York apartment building. The third one finally went to space when they're from space in the fourth one. And I just loved every one of these. I remember getting the fourth one when it came out on VHS, like on release day, going and renting it from Blockbuster. I love this movie, man. Super fun. Everybody, as far as actors, of course, Dee Wallace always kills it. She's phenomenal in every role she's ever done. Emmett Walsh as Harv, super great. People might remember him as he was John Lithgow's father in Harry and Henderson's. He does a great job. Billy Bush, who plays Jay Brown, the dad, he does a good job. Scott Grimes, phenomenal. Scott's done a few other things too, but this is definitely my favorite role for Scott. Billy Zane, of course, did a good job for the short roles he's got. All the actors, they were great. I mean, there was no complaints from any of them. Special effects was awesome, especially for an '80s film and a lower budget '80s film. The Kreitz looked great.
Yep.
I mean, they handled them so well. I mean, hands off, the Chiodos brothers know what they're doing. But there were so much fun moments in this movie, down to when April and Steve, Billy Zane, they're up in the barn and they're making out while these critters have started to attack the farm, and they attack Steve, and they end up killing Steve, and they're coming after April. And Brad runs in to save her, and he's a pyromaniac. He makes all these homemade pipe bombs and things. So he throws this big firecracker at the Krite that's trying to attack April, and it picks it up and swallows it, and then it just blows up in his stomach, and it's all just and then sinks back down, and he just starts going
keels
and
over,
falls over.
Yeah. He just keels over.
Oh man,
you just hear a faint boom.
Yeah,
I'm like, man, he's soundproof too. And then he collapses.
So good. And you got those comedic moments. One of my favorite scenes is they're tearing through the house, and then one of the Krites comes across that ET doll, that little stuffed ET doll, and he starts talking to him. Like, hey, who are you? When did you get here? And then all of a sudden it doesn't respond. He's mad. He just bites ET's head off. I thought that was great because this was the ET era still. And I was not a huge fan of that movie, so I love that scene. But this was super good, super fun for me. I loved it. It was constantly on repeat. Every time it came on TV, I was watching this movie. If the moment I was able to buy it, I bought it. I introduced Jada to this at a very young age. When she first started getting into the monster movies at 5 years old, I was like, kid, let's watch this one. And she loves it. She's seen all the four. No, she hasn't seen the newest one, but she's seen the first 4 movies. Watched the web series, which she agrees that was totally weird, but it's still a lot of fun. It's a good time for me. If I just want to watch something that's fun, and I know there's the special effects are all practical, all great. There's no bad special effects shot in this movie. Even the weird prison warden, who's like a worm thing. Maybe not the best suit, but he's such a weird looking character that it doesn't have any real flaw to it, I think.
It reminds me of The Fifth Element. Towards the end, the chick that's singing and it's got.
Oh yeah.
That's when I first saw it. I was like, hey, that's what looks like.
He made me think of it was like my thoughts when I watched him was that the warden was like a mixture of Jabba the Hutt and his little right hand man guy who was kind of like the girl from Fifth Element. You had the tentacles. It felt like it was a blend of the two of them.
Oh, yeah.
Another great special effects scene is when the bounty hunters, they're plain. They have no face. They're just like ghost like. And they're flesh, but they're ghost like. But then they transform into humans, and that sequence was like straight out of Hellraiser. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like just the blood pouring over their faces and the muscles growing, and I was like, "Whoa!" It was awesome.
Well, yeah. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure who it was or what was going on at first. Then you get that tint of yellow. As they're going, then you're pretty good. You know who it is.
Yeah, and of course bam, Terrence Mann played. Also on TV is what's the Power of the Nights, the song in the movie. He played Johnny Steele, I think.
Johnny Steele, yeah.
Yeah, so. Man, super good. And I think the movie was only shot in 5 or 6 weeks too. It was a real quick shot. But for me, man, super fun. Tons of monsters. They're everywhere. They're eating the chickens. They're, killing people and killing the cops at the beginning.
Cattle.
And, super, super good, man. I love this movie.
Really fun movie, and it I think that's what spawned the other movies. Because this came out, and I think they had to with it had to be compared to Gremlins, because Gremlins was a fun movie too, and so because that's the first thing when I saw Critters, when it came out the very first time, that was my first comparison. Well, that's this is like a Gremlins movie, but then as you got into it and you watched it, it's like, man, this is cool. This is a great movie. It's fun. You can laugh in it and see all this crazy stuff, and you're right. the special effects were spot on, for the time.
Oh yeah.
And
Oh yeah.
Because you had a lot of these movies back then. I mean, of course, you had Gremlins, but you had
Yeah.
the Critters, and you also had Ghoulies, and then you had
Oh, yeah.
Munchies.
Oh, yeah.
A lot of those little tiny creature from The Gate.
Yeah.
What
what was the little? I can't remember what's the name of the one. The one little space alien. I think you liked it when it first came out. I have to figure it out. It's not,
there's a lot of space aliens. I
oh
like,
no, yeah,
so-
but this
I know
was
it.
like a little.
Oh, you really
little
narrowed it down there,
geeky-looking
Mark.
thing. He's a little. You used to say his name all the time, and and I can't remember.
You got to remember.
Yeah, I can't remember what it is, and I
don't-
can't even look it up because I don't even know where to go with it.
I'm trying to wrap my brain like back in
Yeah.
me. I'm like what the Ewoks.
No.
We'll figure that out.
Yeah.
Ruben, what did you think while Mark's trying to figure this thing out?
I should have never even brought that up. I don't even know why I said that.
I like the movie. Now, to be honest, I've only seen it once, and it was on TV a long time ago. I hadn't really seen it that many times. I don't own it on any media or anything because it came out in 1986, and in 1986 I was 19.
Mhm.
So yeah, I wasn't interested in that. That wasn't gonna get me to stop to go to the movies to see it or anything like that. But I liked it. I liked it a lot. I thought it was the special effects were great. The comedy, we criticized the movie for being. Oh, it was. I remember now. This one, the comedic moments were perfect. Where where the Christmas movie we just did, Krampus,
Yeah.
comedic moments were off and they weren't in the right spot. With this one, they were all in the right spot. Some of my favorite scenes are just the comedic ones. One of my favorite scenes that stuck out, and I just kind of laughed. I laughed out loud because I thought it was so funny. Was when they attack the family and they get into the house and they close the door, and then there's two critters right outside the door, and one of them says they have weapons. Should we leave? And then the other one says, "Nah, let's go for it," or something like that. And then boom, he gets shotgun right off the. He gets just as soon as he says, "Nah, it'll be all right," he gets just shot right out of the. He gets it. He gets a shotgun right in the face. Basically, is what happens to him. And another funny scene that stuck out to me too was when they attack the bowling alley, and then the sheriff finally shows up, and they're all out there, and it was this was going on, and one of the ladies describes the two bounty hunters. She goes, they were dressed funny, like they were from Los Angeles or something.
Oh, yeah.
And I'm like, I thought that was just so funny. They were dressed like they were from Los Angeles. And I'm like, oh man, this is just hilarious.
Because this is definitely a major like redneckish Midwestern town.
Yeah, it is. Yeah, exactly. They smash into a church, and during services, and then they smash into a bowling. I mean, then they show up at the bowling alley, and it's a little small redneck type town. It's just everybody knows everybody, and it's funny too that to me it was a throwback to the Andy Griffin Show. The drunk, the guy, the drunk, he goes, oh, he's sleeping it off. And the cell's open. The cell is wide open. He's in there.
I can see it.
Yeah.
I can see
Yeah. The cell's wide open. There's a lamp in there. There's a little like table lamp in there. And the cell's not even locked. The sheriff goes back there and tells him to go on home now. And I'm like, man, that's straight out of Andy Griffin. Like, and that's the type of town it is. It's right out of the Andy Griffin Show, And so I thought that was cool. That was a cool throw. To me, it was a throwback to that. I think they did it purposely. I didn't read it anywhere, but it looked like a tiny little hotel room. It had a little, it wasn't a jail cell. So I thought that was cool. The acting was good. Dee Wallace just can do no wrong for me. So
No, never.
She's just perfect. In this one, and the cast was great. It was good seeing Zane in something. And he was your typical rich kid. His daddy had just bought him what looked like a Ferrari or something.
Yeah.
He played it perfectly. That's the kind of characters he played. Like in Titanic, he played the rich spoiled guy, just like he did in this one. And but in this one, I don't know if you guys noticed, but he was actually pretty cool kid. He weighed he minded his manners and at the table, when they were having dinner, and it's actually their daughter that's trying to get him to leave so they can go make out up on the barn. It wasn't him, and I'm like, well, they played him as a rich guy that usually gets what he wants, but he's acting pretty decent, so
Yeah.
I caught that. But there's nothing about this movie I really didn't like. It was your it's your typical 80s creature feature, if you ask me, as far as um for the time and the type of movie that it is. um there was a bunch of those out at that same time. Even the dated hair metal steel music was
Yeah. Oh, it's so good
typical
though.
1986.
Because you can't help but
Yeah,
just want to sing it, when it's playing.
yeah, yeah. I'm like, man, that's just so bad that it's good, type of deal.
Yeah,
And it was, go ahead.
and I just wanted to bring this up. So I mean, because Ruben, you said something a minute ago that you only seen this once, and this is just
Right.
I wanted to point that to if this turns true. Mark, did you watch this before the episode?
Before the episode,
Yeah.
about a half of it.
Ruben, did you watch this before recording this episode?
I watched it last night.
Okay, so
Yeah,
you've seen it
so,
twice.
yeah.
I didn't.
Yeah,
Like
right.
I have not watched this in
Oh,
probably.
you probably seen it so many times.
Oh, dude,
like
so
I
many.
could have done.
Yeah.
So I'm like, you know what I mean? So
Yeah.
Mark
Yeah.
watched half of it. Ruben watched it for the second time.
And mine was a refresh
Yeah.
because I don't know how many times I've seen this.
Oh,
movie.
dude.
Yeah,
It's just that it doesn't.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to say it's just that good of a movie.
Yeah.
It's just
Yeah.
you're guaranteed fun.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah,
Period.
and it is like I'm like, man, this is a cool movie. Like if anybody wants to ever watch a fun movie, I'm gonna point them in this direction. And I said, this is a pretty cool movie to watch. It it's scary, but it's funny. It'll get you laughing. Like if you wanted to show some teens a freaked out 80s movie, this would be one that I would point to. Say, let's watch Critters. If you want to see typical 80s, watch Critters because that's typical 80s, late 80s, I should say.
Yeah.
85 and up.
Yeah,
Especially like I said, that music. I'm like, man, this music is just it's just typical 86. And me as a rocker from the 80s, like this was when heavy metal just took a turn, and I'm like, what's going on here? And no, I don't like this at all, type of deal. It was like hair metal, and it was bad, and of course we all ended up going thrash instead of this, and but it's still, you hear that song, and man, you can almost guess the year that it was.
Oh, you
that it was
could.
made. by
If
the-
you- yeah.
yeah.
If
you
you
know,
listen
you
to
can almost guess
Power of
it.
the Night, you'll
Yeah,
You just know.
You'll know what you just know. You're talking 85, 86, 87 maybe at the latest. I'm like, man.
Oh yeah.
But this movie is just so good. I really, after watching it a second time, I said, why did I never watch this? But it's not on rotation anywhere. You know what I'm saying? If you want to
Right.
watch this movie, you basically got to go out and buy it.
Yep.
Because it's not on rotation anywhere. You're not going to catch it. You're not going to catch it on HBO or TNT or TBS.
And it was one of those.
You know.
It was one of those it was kind of by the time it hit home video, it was the end of the era as far as
Yeah.
the
yeah, you're right.
Saturday monster movies. You know what I mean? You catch the monster
Yeah.
movies on the weekend
Yeah.
or that. And this was
Yeah.
the ending of that time. Because I mean, yeah, we got it on VHS as soon as pretty much as we could.
Yeah.
But I remember it coming on TV, but it would usually be the Saturday monster movie,
Yeah.
and it was at that end before they
It's
just
going to be on,
stopped
on
doing
an
it.
independent channel. It wasn't going to be on your major network back then.
No.
That just
exactly.
wasn't going to happen.
Yeah.
And I like what you just said. It reminded me that this is the type of movie that it took me back. When I saw it, watching it, I'm like, this is the kind of movie you'd walk into a video store, and back then when there was VHSs lined up on the shelf, and you're just looking for something different. And
Yep.
then you say, hey, this is the type when I say Critters. I don't know what it is, but cover looks interesting. Let's give it a shot. You
yeah.
read the back and in the description, and you say, you know what, I'm gonna give this a shot. And I don't know how many movies I discovered that way. But like I said, by 86, and I'm sure this didn't hit. Did it hit VHS? Maybe it used to take like a year sometimes.
Yeah, it's probably like 87,
VHS,
88.
Yeah, somewhere.
So 87, 88, I was already like 20 years old, and you go through phases in your life, and that was just, I wasn't interested in that, and then as of course I don't know if this is how it is with you guys. I go through phases where you're not interested in that stuff, and then all of a sudden you're in a place where you can start actually enjoying life a little bit more, and you have a little bit more free time maybe,
Mhm.
and you can invest time in doing that, and that's how it happened for me. So I'm sorry I didn't discover it before, because this is actually, I bet you, like, if RJ, a little RJ, 8-year-old, 9-year-old RJ running around, he would have loved this movie
Oh man. Well,
as
see
a
that.
kid, yeah.
And for me, I discovered this movie at the age of probably 7 because I actually saw the second one before I saw this one because we went
Ah,
to the drive-in to see Batman Returns.
Oh,
And
wow.
you remember this, Mark?
oh
Yeah.
boy.
7 years old. I remember this clear as day, or I guess it was night actually.
Yeah.
But we went to go see Batman Returns, and this was the B film. So
Yeah.
they played the two movies.
Right.
Critters 2 was the second film they played that night
Yeah.
at the Skyview in Newcastle.
Yep.
So the second one's actually what got me into it, and then we went and found the first one,
Right.
and was hooked.
Right.
Just
oh man,
hooked.
that goes back
Oh, yeah,
a
man.
day. Yeah, for sure.
I remember that.
For
We're
sure.
watching Batman. Then all of a
Yeah.
sudden, what lit my night up was not Batman.
What's
was
this?
It was these furry little monsters on the big screen. I
Yes.
absolutely loved it.
Yeah.
Watching and of course the second one, watching the critters. I still remember it too. Them getting in the Easter Bunny suit, like biting the dude in the crotch and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I loved it. It was so good. For the movies from the '80s, especially when it came to in the movie that Mark was talking about, the alien one a minute ago, he was trying to find was Mac and Me,
Yes.
which I love that movie.
Oh, I
Yeah.
remember that
Yeah.
movie. Yeah.
Yeah.
But there was that
Yeah.
whole set of let's see what this and Maccabee came out in 88,
something like that. Yeah.
So it was like
Yeah.
84, 86,
Critters
88.
2 came out in
Yeah.
88. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean all that through the mid 80s or through the 80s. Those little tiny monster.
Oh yeah,
type,
had tons of
Yeah, aliens, monsters,
Yeah.
and aliens.
Yeah.
Outer space.
Yeah.
And you mentioned you don't like ET. I'm not a big ET fan myself. But,
Never was. The only good thing about it is D. Wallace Stone.
Yeah.
That was it.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah. Yeah.
So I
And,
think when it comes to the '80s films, especially because Gremlins is. But I would say Gremlins. More people probably know.
Yeah.
Because of the Mogwai character, because of Gizmo.
Yeah.
But Gremlins only had one sequel. Critters had 4 sequels and a series.
Yeah.
To me, when it comes to the '80s, these films, Munchies, Ghoulies, The Gate, Mac and Me, those '80s little tiny monster movies. To me, the Critters was it, man. It was the top dog, in my opinion. As far as
I would probably, from what I've seen, I would agree with that. I mean, there's,
I don't know. I thought I enjoyed Gremlins.
I love Gremlins.
I thought probably enjoyed Gremlins a little bit more than I did Critters. Not that I didn't like Critters. I did like it.
Yeah. What I don't get about Gremlins is Phoebe Cates was in it, but I don't remember any Gremlins.
I don't remember that.
Okay. I don't know if any of our listeners have figured it out, but
Yeah.
she is my major crush. That, oh my God, I remember one time buying a magazine, Hit Parader magazine, for the story on music and stuff. But the back page was an ad for private school, and it was just a full body shot of Phoebe Cates.
Oh yeah, I forgot about that. I was like, wait a minute.
Yeah.
I do remember that one. That's right.
Yeah, it was just a full body shot of her in a leotard. Man, I tell you what, I still have this magazine to this day, and it still gets. I still stop and look at it. I mean,
we know who Ruben's Hollywood crush was, and
yes.
forever will
Yeah.
be.
Oh my God, there's no. Yeah, everybody. Oh, Fast Time. You know what? Fast. It's fine, but for me, it went way beyond Fast Times at Richmond High. I mean, I was just. Oh man, she was. Just number one.
She was hot in that movie, and there's that nude scene and all that stuff, or topless scene, whatever.
Oh, Fast Times.
But but to me,
yeah,
the soundtrack
of Fast Times.
Yes,
man.
Yeah. Sammy Hagar.
Yeah. Oh, dude, great soundtrack
Oh
for that
yeah,
movie.
loved it.
So
Loved it.
good.
Yeah.
So,
And that's everybody. I mean, when you say her name, everybody thinks of that. Well, not me. I mean, I think about it, but I'm like, oh my God, I love Phoebe Cates to death. I don't know how that Klein guy got so lucky to marry her, but Richard Klein, is that
Yeah,
his name?
yeah, I think that's his name.
Yeah, Richard Klein. Yeah, Richard Klein. Yeah,
And I believe they're still married, aren't they?
yeah, they still are to
Yeah.
this day.
Yeah.
And she still looks fabulous to this
Yep.
day.
Yep.
That was, I mean,
You know,
for me,
she-
that was Mary Tyler
Yeah.
Moore
Yeah.
was my
Oh,
Phoebe
yeah.
Cates, man. I mean, just
How did
Oh,
we go
yeah.
from Critters to
I don't
this?
know.
What
man. We
just
went
happened
there,
here?
so-
Good
It
job,
was-
Bruce.
It was
It was
Justin.
me.
It's Justin's fault. He
Justin.
started with Colossal.
What have you done, Justin? That's great.
Oh man, that's
It's all my fault. I went on a tangent over Phoebe Cates and Gremlins.
He got to daydreaming down there in Texas.
Yeah,
He went
we
off.
lost
Yeah,
Ruben.
There just happened to be a microphone in
lost.
front of him.
We took him back to the '80s, and he's going to be there for a while.
Yeah.
All right. Well, yes. I mean, Critters, man, great. We gave that one Colossal got a 1.5. Critters got a 3.5.
Oh
from
yeah.
us.
Oh yeah.
I think you guys both gave it a 3.
Yes.
I gave it a 4, especially for the nostalgia factor for me definitely amped it up. But man, for you guys listening, if you've not seen Colossal, don't watch it. It's just past that one entirely up.
Not
I
if
didn't
not if
expect
you're
that.
looking for a monster movie. Yeah,
Yeah,
if you're looking for
not
a
at all.
monster movie. Yeah, yeah.
That's great. I really thought you
Yeah.
were getting ready to say, watch it. You were like, don't watch it.
Don't watch Colossal. Now, Critters, if you haven't seen it, man, find you a copy, and we promise you will going to enjoy this movie.
Yes.
I mean,
yes,
it's-
you will.
You
It
will
is
not.
just fun.
You will enjoy it. Yeah, you will. I can't think of anybody not enjoying this film at all. I mean,
No,
it's
man, there's
just
no
gotta-
way.
You know, there's just no way. I'm thinking, how can I be critical of this movie? And usually I can think of something, but man, this is just so. It's just a lot of fun. You know, it's just so much fun, and it, the kill, the kill count is not that great. It's not that kids can watch this easily.
Oh yeah, because there's
and
only
not be, you won't get scared or anything.
No,
They
there's
might
only
be a little
2.
scared. The critters are pretty scary. Yeah.
right. There's
Yeah.
2 deaths
Yeah.
in the whole on screen. This the cop at the beginning, who you don't even really see
Yeah.
him die. They drag him underneath the car.
They drag him under the car. Yeah, you
Yep.
don't even
Yep.
see that death scene. Yeah,
And then Billy Zane.
and even Billy Zane, and even that one, it's he's killed, but it's not even that bad. It's not real bad. It's kind of like it's a wide angle shot, I guess you'd call it.
yeah,
not
and
really
you only
that
see him
wide.
on his stomach, and
You always
attacking
see him. Yeah, you see that little furry ball just tearing him up, but you don't really see much more than that.
No,
And I mean, the dad gets attacked, but he's not killed. I think that was more gruesome than Billy Zane's death, is when he was attacked down in the basement. When the
Yeah,
dad goes
that
down in
was.
the
That's probably the
basement,
most
and
violent
the
part of
critter
it.
shot the needles. Yeah,
Yep.
and he gets shot, and D. Wallace gets shot right in the neck with one of those needles, and that's it's just a fun film. I don't think anybody'd be disappointed. Just go into it.
Yeah.
Just remember the '80s. Just remember the '80s.
Oh,
and
yeah.
pop
Yeah.
it in.
Yeah.
it's
If you really want to get
definitely a good time.
nostalgic, find a VCR and watch it on VHS. Then you'll really like it.
Now that's the way to
Because
do
I
it.
bet-
Definitely.
Yeah.
So-
And we're talking about Critters, not Fast Times at Ridgemont High.
no.
This is
no.
Critters.
No.
we're talking
Fast
about.
Time on Ridgemont High. Now you want to get that on 4K, if possible.
Oh yeah.
4K and no kids in the room.
Yeah.
Keep the kids
Yeah,
out.
kids
And no
out.
kid.
Yeah.
Yeah. The Fast Times is not a kids movie. I
No.
think
You want surround
75%
sound
of
the
it
whole
is
9 yards.
inappropriate. Yeah, that's 75% inappropriate, but you
Yes.
still have a soundtrack that's
Oh, yeah.
awesome.
Oh,
so
so good.
if you want your kids exposed to Fast Times, go get the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That's
There you
what you
go.
do, and
That
you listen
works.
to that.
Yes. Yeah.
You know.
All right, guys.
Yeah.
Well, hopefully you enjoyed that one. You stuck through the first film with us, and we got you something great. So, Justin, that's the last time you were going to recommend a movie ever. I'm just
Justice
kidding.
Pride.
I
We love
didn't figure Justin to be so vengeful.
I didn't
Oh,
either.
yeah.
Revenge
That's what it
bound.
is.
But he taught us a lesson that we'll never forget.
Yeah,
That's all I
I'll
know.
never forget that lesson.
Yes.
He got us for.
But
Oh,
you know
yeah,
what? It's
98.
all in good. Justin is all in good fun. You know.
He's,
So
He's sitting at home
just
on
gonna
his,
preach.
on his couch, doing that
Laughing.
mad scientist laugh right now.
Yeah.
Saying,
yeah,
"Yes, I got him.
exactly. He's
I got
laughing.
him."
I
It's
got him.
He's like the mad scientist from Mystery Science Theater 3000. That's what just happened. We had a
Yeah.
real life
Yeah.
Mystery Science Theater 3000 moment.
Yeah.
So,
those big dummies are watching this movie and waiting for monsters, and they never show up.
Yeah. That's exactly what it is.
Let them watch it. They're going to make me famous. They're going to talk about me the whole
Yeah,
podcast.
Man,
Yeah.
what was? Dang, I'm trying to remember now. What was the? Oh man, what was the scientist's name? From Mr. Science 3000. I want to call him that now.
Oh man,
That I can't remember.
Gosh, I
now.
can't remember either.
I can't. It just slipped my mind. And you know what? Pluto had. I mean, I just hadn't stopped on it. Pluto has a Mystery Science 3000 channel.
Oh, do
And,
they?
I just, yeah, they do. Yeah, I just hadn't. I don't pull up Pluto as often as I used to, but they do. They have a channel just dedicated to that on Pluto, and it's free for anybody out there who doesn't have never heard of Pluto. It's a streaming app that has a whole bunch of cool channels, comics
Oh,
on there,
man.
and a bunch
I
of
need-
cool channels. So.
I need to check that out. Forrester, Dr. Forrester. That's
Yeah.
it.
Okay.
Dr. Forrester was his name.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
That's
there
what
you go.
changing Justin's name to Dr. Forrester from now on. So, all right. Well, hopefully you guys enjoyed the episode, and that'll wrap it up for the month of January 4th. Now we come back next month, and of course we hit you with another Godzilla film. This one will be interesting because me and Ruben will both agree this is probably one of our least favorites. Definitely of the Millennium series. But we got Godzilla X. Yeah, because it wasn't a versus. It was Godzilla X Megaguirus, which brings the return of a maybe familiar, maybe not so familiar monster from back in the day. 1956's Rodan introduced the Meganulons, which is what Megaguirus is based off of. But interesting concepts, I guess. Maybe we'll get to it. It'll still be Godzilla movie. It's gonna be fun, but we'll hit you with that one. And then of course we made a discussion for the second episode next month. We realized we have kind of failed you all, and we apologize. We're 51 episodes deep, and we've never done a solo Universal monster film, and for that we're sorry. So we're going to do Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Say, we're coming, Sarge. And we're coming,
Yes,
Sarge.
sorry, and I might have to get a hold of him, see if he can jump on that episode.
He
That
would
is-
love that. He would be all into it.
Yeah, Sarge from the Protest, man.
Oh.
That is maybe his only film he likes more than Godzilla. I mean, he is a fanatic of
Hey,
Creature from the Black Lagoon.
Creature is like, man, I like Frankenstein and all that, but my go-to Universal monster film is one of them. But it's one of my. I'll just say it's one of my favorite. It's up there.
Oh, absolutely. Same
is
here.
Creature from the Black Lagoon. I mean, man, it's hard to. I wrestle with it because of there's so many good. Frankenstein versus the Wolfman, and even House of Frankenstein is great. But this one, and it's just I own it. I own it on VHS. I own it on DVD. I have several different versions, and I have it on Blu-ray. I don't have it on 4K yet because I don't think it's available.
Not yet.
It's on 4K. Too.
And my nostalgia piece is that I worked where that was filmed.
That's right.
Yeah, I did.
That's
I
gonna
did.
be-
Yes,
Yep,
I did.
we're gonna-
down in Silver Springs, Florida.
So we got some cool stuff to drop for you on that one. You definitely want to
did.
pay attention to
Oh,
it.
very cool.
Yeah, super stoked. Sadly, it's the only Universal monster film of the originals that has not gotten a remake. Almost got done by Rob Zombie at one point. Del Toro was trying for years. They finally, would never give him the rights, so he said fine, and he made Shape of Water, which is as close as you can get to this film. Which Shape of Water was absolutely amazing.
Yeah. it
So
was.
definitely a great.
and that one was a drama. That was a drama,
It
but I
was.
like that one.
and
yeah,
but it was
that
at least
one
a good one. It was at least a good
Yeah,
one.
it was a very good one. Yeah.
Forget it, Justin. It doesn't compare.
Yeah,
Let it go.
not
Let
even
it go,
close,
Justin.
so,
Let it
yeah.
go.
But all right,
Yeah,
again,
yeah.
guys, thank you all so much. Justin, we love you. We're only giving you a hard
Yes,
time
sir. That's right.
out of good fun, even though, I mean, you got us for G98.
Yeah.
We'll accept it as that. Well played. But hope you guys enjoyed the episode. Again, join us back next month for Godzilla X Megaguirus, and then start tackling the Universal monsters with Creature from the Black Lagoon and the Gill Man. One of my favorite monsters
Excellent.
ever.
Excellent.
So,
Yeah.
all right. Thank you guys so much. This is Sludge.
And Mark,
And Ruben.
Y'all have a good night.
see ya.
Good night, everyone.